Hi, and welcome to Kizzer-D, where we uncover the hidden science behind your daily life, from the biology of happiness to your brain's complex relationship with technology. Have you ever wondered why it feels so good to get a like on social media, or why you can't stop scrolling, or even when you know you should? Well, here's the crazy part. Every time you get a like, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that gives you a feel-good buzz. But there's a catch. Social media platforms know this, and they're designed to keep you coming back for more. In this video, we're diving into the biology behind our love-hate relationship with social media, from how it affects our mental health to the mysterious world of echo chambers. Let's explore what's really happening behind the scenes. If you're ready to uncover the science of your daily life, hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing insights. So imagine this, you post a picture and moments later your phone buzzes. Someone liked it. That tiny buzz sets off a chemical reaction in your brain. Dopamine is released, giving you that quick hit of pleasure. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical. It's the same neurotransmitter, responsible for the rush you get when you win a game, eat your favourite dessert, or even accomplish a big goal. Here's where it gets interesting. Social media platforms are designed to exploit this reward system. Every like, comment, or share triggers your brain to release a little more dopamine, making you crave that next interaction. And it's not just random. The developers have studied these reactions to make notifications, colours, and sounds as addictive as possible. It's no accident that you keep reaching for your phone, it's just science. Studies show that the average person checks their phone over 50 times a day. And every time we do, our brain learns to associate the action with a tiny reward. That's dopamine. But here's the kicker. Over time, these quick hits of dopamine can lead to, dependencies. That's why it feels harder and harder to put your phone down, even when you know you should. So what happens when this dopamine cycle goes unchecked? Now we know how social media triggers those feel-good dopamine hits. Let's talk about what happens when the constant flow of notifications starts to wear on our minds. It's no secret that constant connectivity can be overwhelming. Every notification, every ping increases stress levels, both mentally and physically. When we're constantly plugged in, our brains produce a stress hormone called cortisol. This hormone is essential for dealing with short bursts of stress, like a sudden emergency. When cortisol levels stay elevated over time, it can lead to anxiety, sleep disturbances, and, burnout. In fact, a study by the American Psychological Association found that nearly 1 in 5 Americans report feeling constantly overwhelmed by their digital devices. And it's not just a feeling. This chronic stress can actually affect our physical health. According to a 2019 study, 70% of people report feeling stressed by their phone's constant notifications, and 40% feel anxiety when they check their devices for an extended period of time. It's no surprise, social media platforms are designed to keep us hooked, which means constant pings, updates, and new posts. Every time we check our phones, it sets off a stress response in our brain, triggering an anxiety loop. Here's another alarming fact. A 2020 study found that teenagers who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media are twice as likely to report symptoms of depression and anxiety. So, why does this happen? Well, the constant exposure to new information, whether it's stressful news or floods of images and posts, keeps our brains in a heightened state of alert. This constant state of hypervigilance can lead to emotional fatigue and eventually anxiety. Over time, this heightened state of stress can actually change how our brains respond to emotional and physical stressors. In other words, we get more stressed by less, and the cycle becomes harder to break. So what's the solution? How can we combat this stress and regain control over our devices? We'll dive into that shortly, but first let's look at something else that's contributing to our digital anxiety, the echo chamber effect. So let's talk about something more concerning, the echo chamber effect, which goes hand in hand with the spread of misinformation, and in some cases, emergent propaganda. As we discussed earlier, echo chambers occur when social media algorithms feed us content that matches our existing beliefs, creating a cycle where we only hear the same opinions and ideas over and over. But what happens when this isn't just reinforced by personal beliefs, but pushing dangerous, manipulating ideas? This is where emergent propaganda comes in. It's not fake news, it's the deliberate manipulation of content to shape opinions, spread division, or push certain agendas. Social media platforms, because of their echo chamber nature, make it easier for these kinds of messages to thrive, especially among adolescents. For teens who are still developing their sense of self and how to view the world, being trapped in an echo chamber can expose them to harmful propaganda. And because they're constantly receiving new, often sensationalized information, they may have trouble distinguishing fact from fiction. Let's look at the numbers. A study from the Oxford Internet Institute found that 65% of young people aged 13 to 17 reported encountering political or ideological propaganda on social media. This content, which can range from misleading political ads to devised conspiracy theories, spreads fast in echo chambers where individuals are already primed to believe this, certain idea. For adolescent girls, propaganda often targets insecurities and reinforces harmful beauty standards or political ideologies that align with certain online communities. 61% of adolescent girls report being influenced by beauty standards on social media, and this influence can be exacerbated by groups that spread extremist or unrealistic ideas. This is compounded by a trend known as influencer culture, where social media influencers can become unwritten conduits for both misleading beauty ideals and, in some cases, more extreme propaganda. These influencers may share content that distinguishes as helpful advice, but it may subtly push political or social agendas. For boys, the propaganda they encounter might center around extreme ideas of masculinity, gaming culture, or even radical political views. 69% of boys report spending significant time on online gaming platforms where they can be exposed to violent ideologies or devise rhetoric under the guise of the community. The algorithms work the same, recommending more extreme content as you engage with certain topics or communities. What starts as a harmful post can snowball into full-blown political or ideological campaign that shapes young person's worldview. Emergent propaganda thrives in these digital echo chambers, where the line between entertainment, news, or manipulation becomes blurred. In fact, 43% of teens reported that they were unaware when content they were engaging with was purposely designed to manipulate their views. What's especially dangerous is that the younger generation are more likely to accept these ideas because they're presented in a familiar, easy, digestible format. Teenagers are especially vulnerable to content that aligns with their insecurities, their desires for social belonging, or their search for identity. So how can we break free from the cycle? How can we recognize the propaganda and misinformation that's been carefully curated around us? We've all heard of the saying, don't compare yourself to others, but in the age of social media, comparison is unavoidable. Whether it's influencers, celebrities, or even friends, we are constantly exposed to idealized images that influence how we see ourselves. This constant comparison doesn't just affect our self-esteem. It actually has biological roots in how our brains process social information. Let's break down how this works and why it's especially impactful for adolescents. When we compare ourselves to others, especially to those who we perceive as more successful or attractive, our brains activates the reward system, the same area involved in rewards like food or money. This means that social comparison is not just a thought process, it triggers a physical and an emotional response. In fact, when you compare yourself to someone better or more idealized, the ventral striatum, the brain region involved in motivation or reward, is activated. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy or envy when we don't measure up to the images we see online. On the flip side, when we feel that someone we compare favourably to others, our brains release dopamine, creating a temporary feel-good feeling. But in today's social media-driven world, those positive feelings are short-lived, and the comparison cycle becomes addictive. This constant cycle of comparing ourselves to others can have a serious toll on our body image, especially for adolescents. During these years, the brain is still developing, and the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for critical thinking and decision-making, isn't fully matured. That means teens are especially vulnerable to the influence of media and peers. The prefrontal cortex doesn't fully mature until around the age of 25. Which is why teens often make decisions based on emotional response rather than rational thinking. In a world of perfect selfies, body goals, and fitness trends, this can result in harmful behaviour like body dysmorphia, extreme dieting, or excessive exercise. A 2019 study found that 70% of teenage girls report feeling dissatisfied with their appearance after spending time on social media, with the comparison to others being the most significant factor. For boys, the pressure is often about physical strength, athleticism, and the idealized version of masculinity promoted online. Interestingly, the effect of these comparisons is gendered. Studies show that adolescent girls are more likely to internalize these beauty ideals, leading to a higher risk of developing issues like eating disorders and anxiety. On the other hand, boys are more likely to compare themselves in terms of muscle mass and body strength, which can lead to unhealthy practices like steroids or excessive gym sessions. But it's not just about appearance. The way we compare ourselves on social media also affects self-esteem and mental health. A 2018 study found that 50% of teens reported feeling more isolated and less satisfied with their lives after scrolling through social media, often due to the constant comparison to others. The constant barrage of filtered images and highlight reels of people's lives making it difficult for teens to develop a healthy self-image. They start to believe that everyone else is more successful, more attractive, or living a more fulfilled life, which further deepens feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. So what's the biological takeaway here? Social comparison is wired into our brains, but social media amplifies its effects. The more time spent comparing ourselves to others, the more our reward system gets hijacked, leading to an addictive cycle of envy and anxiety. That's why it's important to take breaks, practice mindfulness, and work on limiting exposure to unrealistic body standards or beauty standards. Our brains are wired to seek out social comparisons, but we have the power to break the cycle by choosing where we direct our attention. So now we have explored the general impact of social media on our brain and mental health. Let's take a closer look at how the major social media platforms differ in their usage, role in spreading propaganda, and their specific impact on users. Each platform operates differently, and so does its influences on users. From Facebook algorithms-driven feeds to TikTok viral video culture, understanding these platforms' work and how they shape our behaviour can give us the tools to navigate them more consciously. Let's start with Facebook, the most widely used platform, with over 2.9 billion monthly active users globally. While it's primarily used to connect with friends and family, its algorithm is known to promote content that generates strong emotional reactions, often sensationalized and polarized content. In fact, Facebook's role in spreading political propaganda has been well documented. A 2019 report found that 70% of Facebook users were exposed to political misinformation, and 37% of users said that they had directly been influenced by false content on the platform. The platform's algorithm favours content that sparks engagement, and since divisive political posts tend to get more likes, shares and comments, they continue to spread. This creates an echo chamber effect where users are repeatedly exposed to content that aligns with their views, reinforcing political polarization. In terms of propaganda, Facebook has been criticized for being a breeder of ground for fake news and extreme political messaging. In 2016, during the US election, Russian-backed groups used Facebook ads to spread misinformation, which was later linked to influencing voter behavior. Moving on to Instagram, which has over 2 billion active users, which is largely visual based. Instagram's algorithm rewards creative, visual, appealing content, which often presents an idealized version of life, whether it's body image, luxury lifestyles, or fitness goals. Instagram is often criticized for its roles in perpetrating unrealistic beauty standards, which is linked to rising issues of body dissatisfaction. In fact, a 2021 study found that 32% of teen girls reported feeling that Instagram made them feel worse about their body image. These feelings were tied to the constant exposure to influencers and celebrities who often post heavy edited photos. But Instagram isn't just about influencers. Its algorithm also pushes content that can reinforce extreme or radicalized views. In 2019, the platform was found to be the primary vehicle for the spread of misinformation about vaccines and content-related conspiracies like QAnon gaining traction among users. While Instagram is famous for its visual content, its role in spreading propaganda and harmful beauty standards can't be overlooked. The platform is a unique space where social comparisons thrive, contributing to a range of mental health issues from anxiety to eating disorders. Now, let's dive into TikTok, a platform that's hugely popular, especially among teens, with over 1 billion active users worldwide. TikTok's algorithm is designed to keep users hooked by recommending viral, highly engaging content that often brief entertainment and easy to consume. TikTok's algorithm tailors content based on what you like, share, and comment on, but it also has been criticized for pushing propaganda and conspiracy theories. In 2020, TikTok had to remove over 100 million videos relating to misinformation about COVID-19 alone. TikTok's short, looping videos create viral moments that can be great for trends and awareness, but they often also make it easier for disinformation to spread quickly. Teenagers in particular are highly susceptible to misinformation because of the platform's addictive nature. TikTok's mix of entertainment and viral trends make it a double-edged sword. While it provides creative expression and social connection, it also amplifies unverified content, especially when it comes to health trends, political messages, or radicalized ideologies. Next, we have Snapchat, with over 750 million active users globally. Snapchat's main feature is its empirical messaging, where messages disappear after being viewed, which gives users a sense of privacy and security. This aspect has contributed to the platform's popularity among teens and, young adults. However, while Snapchat offers privacy through disappearing messages, it also has been criticized for fostering risky behaviors, including the spread of misinformation and harmful content. Snapchat's discovery feature, where users can find curated stories from celebrities, news outlets, and influencers, has been a source of both entertainment and controversy. Like other platforms, Snapchat is also a vehicle for the spread of fake news, particularly among young users again. A 2019 study found that 45% of Snapchat users had encountered misinformation on the platform, particularly related to health and political issues. While Snapchat doesn't have the same level of content moderation as other platforms, it focuses on fast-paced disappearing interactions, has made an ideal space for the spread of rumours and inflammatory content that may not last long but have lasting consequences on public perception. And finally, we have YouTube, the largest video sharing platform with over 2 billion monthly users. YouTube is a space for everything from DIY tutorials to long-form documentaries, but it also is a breeding ground for radicalization and misinformation. YouTube's recommendation system has come under fire for public users towards more extreme content. A 2021 study found that 70% of YouTube views come from recommendations, meaning that its algorithm plays a huge role in guiding users towards specific videos, sometimes reinforcing harmful ideas. One of the most troubling aspects of YouTube's algorithm is its ability to lead viewers down a rabbit hole of increasingly radical videos. Research found that YouTube can push users from relatively benign content to extremist or conspiracy-laden videos, sometimes in a particular matter of hours. This phenomenon has been linked to the rise of radicalization, particularly within political or ideological circles. In addition to political radicalization, YouTube is also a platform where misinformation about health vaccines and global events spread rapidly. During the COVID-19 pandemic, YouTube had to remove over 500,000 videos containing false or misleading information about the virus, including videos that downplayed its severity or promoted unproven treatments. YouTube's vast and varied content makes it an ideal platform for both educational content and dangerous propaganda. With its focus on algorithm-driven recommendations, the platform is a double-edged sword. It can spread knowledge, but it can also amplify harmful or misleading content that aligns with the user's pre-existing beliefs. Ultimately, while YouTube offers an incredible amount of educational resources and creative expression, its algorithm can also deepen polarization and promote content that is not necessarily rooted in fact. This makes it a critical platform to be mindful when navigating the digital landscape. So there you have it. Each social media platform has its strengths, but also its darker side when it comes to spreading misinformation, propaganda, and fueling social comparison. Being aware of the dynamics of each platform is the first step towards creating a healthier digital experience. Next time you scroll through your feed, ask yourself, what am I consuming and how does it make me feel? By becoming more mindful, we can take control of our digital lives and minimize any negative impacts of social media on our well-being. Subscribe for more insights on digital wellness, share the video, and join the conversation in the comments below. Until next time.